So before we get into the meat of today's topic, I wanted to take the opportunity to provide an update to a story I had previously covered on this channel, where a teacher had basically given a blowjob to a 14-year-old student. Let's all agree here that, while I've called it a blowjob because it was oral sex, it's still rape. Yeah. Well, in any case, today I found out that she got 10 years probation, avoided jail entirely, and even though it was recommended it be taken away, she gets to keep her teaching certificate. This belongs behind these, not in one of these, or with a license to be able to do that when there's a risk of her committing this again. Regardless of any kind of circumstance, you're not about to tell me she was under duress now, are you? Suck my dick or I'll tell the teacher you suck my dick. That's not how this works. She abused trust, she broke the law, she will go to prison. Sorry, she should have gone to prison. Yeah. Justice, everyone. In current year. Essentially, the suspended sentence is the absolute maximum penalty for any woman who abuses sexually anyone under legal age. Ridiculous. So now that I've gotten that out of my system temporarily, albeit, we're going to move on to a different subject entirely, where I can't cover all of it as I'd like to, but I am going to go and buy the paper that is referenced in this, because it's like $4 Australian. It's like, what, 50 pence British? I mean real money. And I'll of course do a subsequent video on that in the near future, where a law lecturer and feminist lawyer say that the cause for the rise of women arrested for violent crime are due to sexist police and judicial officers. I think I speak for all of my viewers when I say, you fucking what, mate? You would have to be balmy as fuck to believe this. I firmly believe if you commit a crime, regardless of gender, you do the time that is listed in the law. Yes, there are mitigating factors, and they have to be rather spectacular. To not go to jail for committing a crime. See the very first thing I mentioned in this video as a good reference for somebody who was not adequately punished for breaking the law. So when I hear of this, where because of the rise in women being arrested, for violent crimes no less, is down to sexist police, you have to wonder, just how much of a blind eye are you turning towards the rise in violent crime? And to give an example of it, we have a chart here for New South Wales from 2011 to 2017. As you can see, the number of arrests has gone up quite a lot. You could attribute that to more men coming forward as being victims of domestic violence, even though there are very little services available for men as victims and they're typically treated as perpetrators even if they're the victim. You could attribute it to law changing so that people finally acknowledge that females are vicious like men. Or you could attribute it to the fact that the police are finally doing their damn job. It could be all three, to be honest. And I'm sure a good answer as to why it's sexist will be provided that will debunk everything I have said so far. Sydney University Associate Professor Dr. Rita Shackle and Principal Solicitor at Feminist Legal Clinic Anne Kerr have accused cops and judges for having a gender bias, which is why the numbers of women arrested have increased. Do you believe if the judges were female and the police were female, that this would be somehow different? Do you believe that because they've committed a crime that is violent, they shouldn't be punished? And I can't wait to read your paper to find out where your sources are derived from, where remarks like this crop up. Shackle and Kerr wrote in a journal article titled "Equality with a Vengeance, the Over-Incarceration of Women," argued the increased imprisonment of women points to pervasive systemic gender bias and discrimination, whereas before then, when women weren't being arrested for committing a crime, it was A-OK, and it's not at all sexist that such thing as the sentencing gap actually exists, which by the way would debunk everything you say in your article, because the sentencing gap does exist. We know it exists. I have a whole slew of videos on this channel that prove it is a problem. It is inequality in action. I'm sorry, I should say it correctly. It is more equality in action. Because that's of course what it is, isn't it? It's more equality, that women are treated as a protected class and men are sent to prison, complete the correct term they're supposed to do for the crime, whereas women are sent home to look after their children. Because, even though they broke the law, they are free of consequence. Equality, everyone. The journal claims, disturbing research and data suggests women's fundamental rights are under attack. Well, I can hardly wait to read that to find out just how they are. The two complained, saying cops and judges need to be more merciful when sentencing women because they suffer more in prison. Now, there are plenty of studies that do confirm this, but that does not mean women should be free of consequence. A suspended sentence is not a consequence. Prison is a fantastic consequence. And yeah, it fucks people up. It fucks men up as well. Do you know what the difference is? Is that men are damaged when they go to prison, but they are told to toughen up, suck it up, princess, get on with it. Or they just do anyway, because that's what they have to do to then get out and either reoffend or reintegrate within society. Shackle and Kerr said the problem lies in authorities not allowing a distinction in sentencing guidelines between crimes committed by males and females. Oh, I know where this is going. Because men commit more crimes than women, men should take the full force of the law. Women make up a far lower number of criminals in Australia. Therefore, they, as a sisterhood and as a group, and I know this because I've covered this in a video before now, not this article, but this argument, because they are so few in number by comparison to their male counterparts, they should not be given as equal a sentence, because that's not right. The sisterhood must be protected. Matriarchy, everyone. The New South Wales Bureau of Crime Statistics in March reported the number of women imprisoned in New South Wales which had doubled between 2011 and 2017. Ms. Kerr claimed police and judiciary failed to understand how power imbalances between men and women in domestic violence cases. Victim blaming, shifting blame, doing everything you can to address the fact that people are violent, regardless of gender. The moment you strike your partner, you are a bad person. You have broken the law, and quite frankly, if that person's still with you, it's a bloody miracle. The significant disparities in physical strength and resources between parties are not being taken into account. You don't suppose that's because, yes, men could inflict significantly more punishment, but beating your partner should be punished as such. It's not a case of, he applied X amount of force, but she only applied X over 2, therefore she should only serve half the time a man would serve. We're not measuring punishment here, and yet there are, and also to add to this, there are levels to what is domestic violence, domestic battery, grievous bodily harm, actual bodily harm, manslaughter, murder. The levels of violence do actually change the nature of the charges. And in this current day and age, I'd go so far as to say, if a woman goes out of her way to murder her partner but doesn't do it, she'd still get a suspended sentence, because jail would hurt her mind and we must protect that. But the man does it, fuck it. Now, to finish this video off, because I didn't really want to drag this out too much, there was only one comment linked in this that says, I think we need a few of those Australian judges over here in England. I'm all for gender equality, but the number of women who are walking free from court after having been convicted of serious crimes is just ridiculous. And this person is absolutely correct. A woman, no less. Quite frankly, I'm not convinced, and I won't be until I've seen the article. I am not convinced that you have a leg to stand on if your argumentation is the majority of women don't commit crimes, the majority of crimes are committed by men, therefore women must be protected and given a lesser sentence, cause good behaviour on majority. That particular fallacy doesn't work. Nor does the one that says, well, women don't inflict as much punishment as men. That is a subjective argument, and entirely circumstance-based. Add to that, there are levels to the type of crime committed. Therefore, you can still serve time for committing a physically violent crime. I don't know if emotional and manipulative behaviour is enshrined in Australian law yet, but it is in the United Kingdom. Let's hope you eventually do it. Either that or just adopt EU laws. I stand by what I said on Discord yesterday. If you're allowed to compete in the Eurovision Song Contest, you can bloody well adopt EU law. You seem to love Europe enough to compete in our competition, so fuck it, you can be a part of that broken system. Anyway, I hope everyone has a lovely Sunday, and thank you all for listening.
Oh, goddowns.
In your arse.
Imagine my shock